if and when we get a regulatory approval, whether it's Pfizer later this week, whether it's Moderna next week, what that could look like for your company and for the places that your company operates, whether it's South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, or North Dakota.
Thank you. Good morning. I appreciate you having me. That vaccine rollout is incredibly important. It's a bit of an optimistic target and outlook for everyone, and I think people are pretty excited about it. There are some logistics that we will be dealing with, obviously, and look forward to the opportunity to get that vaccine out and start using it as quickly as possible. For us, what we will do is we've set our prioritization schedule, and we'll start doing frontline healthcare workers immediately. Those who are dealing with COVID patients directly will be the first dosages of the vaccine that go out. And we will start from there on a scheduled and pretty regimented protocol as we go through who will receive the vaccine. But it'll be those frontline caregivers initially.
This has been a topic of debate, whether it should be frontline caregivers, essential workers, versus folks that might be at risk above the age of 65, above the age of 80, depending on states and countries that we're looking at with potential vaccine rollouts right now. How did you decide that frontline healthcare workers should receive this first?
It just came down to as we look right now, we have seen in the last month or a little more significantly increased rates of hospitalizations. And we've got to, that's starting to go down now. We're seeing that in the last few days, that is starting to decline, which is very positive for our region in the upper Midwest, at least within our footprint. But certainly that long-term care population, those individuals that are in long-term care facilities, are a very vulnerable population. And in our formula and in our protocols, they will be the next group after we get through those initial healthcare workers that are caring for those patients. Then we move on to those vulnerable long-term care patients.
Yeah, I don't think anybody argues with the need to have them go first. I wonder about teachers and educators. Given the focus on trying to keep or reopen schools, do you think that they also deserve priority?
Yeah, well, one thing where we're at in our footprint, as Morgan mentioned, in South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, and parts of North Dakota, we have not seen significant school closures. There have been episodic and periodic closures for a few days where there have been large cases, but across the board, schools have remained open. Teachers are certainly essential and a vital part of our workforce. They're also in contact every day with a population that can be asymptomatic, but they're still transmitting it to the teachers. So they become vulnerable as well. They're certainly within our protocols as people who will have access over what I would call the more general healthy public population. But school closures, fortunately, have not been an issue in our footprint.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.